Hello. So a couple of weeks ago I gave a seminar on You Can Be the Person You Want to Become, which was a lecture that Master Okawa gave when he came to Sydney, Australia in March 29th, 2009. And his lecture was about 30 or 40 minutes long, and then after the lecture he had a Q&A session and he answered 5 questions. One was about destiny, one was about what is real success, another was about how to solve the problems in society with drugs and alcohol addiction. Another one was on what are the good points about Australia and Australians, and the final question was about vegetarianism. So today, this short video here, I'd like to just show you the question that was given by somebody called Terry, and he asked a question about destiny. Because during his seminar, Master Okawa had declared that in about 300 years' time, Australia will become the centre of the world, just as America is the centre of the world, you could say today. It's the most powerful country, the most powerful military, the most powerful economy, and it dictates a lot about the world affairs. But in the past, many countries have had the times when they have been the leading country. I mean, if we want to go back a long way from the teachings of Happy Science, we can find that there was the Mu continent about 20,000 years ago, and that was a great civilization at that time. Approximately 12,000 years ago, there was Atlantis, which is now, Atlantis is no longer a continent above the ocean. Atlantis sank into the ocean. But at that time, they had a very high-level civilization. But in more recent times, we can look back and we can see that Greece had a time when it was a country of great prosperity and a real wonderful civilization that was guided by Hermes. Then Egypt had a time. I mean, we can see the pyramids of Egypt, and there was the pharaohs, and obviously at that time they had some high-level civilization going on in Egypt. If we look around the world since that time, England had a time where it led the world. I mean, they said there was a time where the sun never set on the British Empire, which meant that even though this little wee tiny island of England, or the British Empire Britain was, it was such a small island, and yet they had spread around the world and had colonized so many places around the world, such as India, such as Hong Kong. But all around the world, they spread their tentacles. I mean, here in Australia and New Zealand, it was colonized by people from England. So this little wee country spread its tentacles around the world. And so different countries throughout different times have led in civilization and in development and progress on the earth. So you may wonder how an individual country can be the one that leads or is leading the civilization of the time. And what Master Okawa teaches us is that before people are born into this world, we will make a life plan. So as well as an individual life plan, there are times when many high spirits get together and make a plan to descend at a particular time in a certain area in the world and develop this particular country, and so that they can have a time of great advancement. And that's why at each time, if we look back in history at these times, these countries were able to go ahead and be great. And it was because of the great figures that were descending from the heavenly world, from the real world, the spirit world that we all came from, with a mission and a plan to help develop the country at that time. So one of the things Master Okawa revealed when he came to Australia was that in 300 years' time or so, Australia will have its turn to lead the world. Of course, at the moment, Australia is a great country. They call it the lucky country, but there's only around about 25 million people or so. so it's quite a small population compared to a lot of other countries. But there are a lot of resources and a lot of huge amount of potential in Australia, not just the potential of the resources, but the potential of the people. Because Australia is a very, very multicultural country. So people from all around the world in different countries have been immigrating here over a period of time. So it's like Australia has the opportunity to take the best from all the different cultures and mould it into something really wonderful. But in his lecture, Master Okawa wanted to give Australia something with which to lead the world with, some ideas to lead the world with. If you want to see that, I will leave a link at the end of this video today to be able to go and watch the lecture, and then you can discover the ideas that Master gave to people in Australia, the foundations with which to guide the world in the next 200 or 300 years as Australia becomes the leader. But on to Terry. So Terry, at the end, he was the first person to ask a question to Master Okawa. And he said, okay, Master Okawa, you've told us about the destiny of Australia and the country will lead the world in the future. But he asked more about individual destiny and how we can know what our destiny is, and how we should know when we should be pursuing our destiny, or when maybe we should realize that, oh, maybe I'm pursuing something, but it's not really my destiny, and give up. So I thought it was a really wonderful question that Terry asked. And the answer Master Okawa gave us was just a fabulous, fabulous answer. It's about 4 minutes long. So please enjoy, and let's learn something about on destiny. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your information on destiny. Our destiny is when our path is predetermined by us or somebody else. You've given us the answer to what our destiny as a nation is. We can set forth and try to achieve those results. But as an individual, we also have a destiny that has been set forward by our choice, I think, previously. We don't know what that destiny is. We have hurdles to overcome, we have problems we have to face. How do we know when to persevere with those challenges that we come to the realization that we are happy with our choice? Or when do we pass on and take a different path? How do we know what our destiny is as an individual?
Okay.
Thank you.
To believe is to live, and to believe is to make your life. And if you have a capability to believe, it means you have some kind of ability in you. If you can believe in something, it's your ability. If you can believe continually, I mean day by day, every day, if you can believe some good thing, and you want to be such kind of person, for example, it means you have ability in you. It just indicates that you have the ability to become such kind of people. So it's a destiny. You can find your destiny. It's a gold mine in you. So if you intensely feel, if you want to do something very strongly, it means in human beings, it is your will. They say it's your will, but your will is your destiny. Your strong will is your destiny. No one can keep strong will without destiny. You are determined to realize such kind of work and dream to create a dream and let it realize in this world. So how strongly you feel means how big your destiny and abilities are. So if you can think every day the same thing, it's your ability and it's your destiny and it's will of the heaven. I think so. So firstly, believe in you, and in you there are everything. In you, you can see God. In you, you can see angels. In you, you can see your future and the future of humankind. Is that okay?
Yeah, so it was only 4.5 minutes, but what a wonderful explanation about destiny. One of the first things Master Okawa said was, to believe is to live, and to believe is to make your life. If you have a capability to believe, it means you have some kind of ability in you. So, essentially, the fact that we can believe something, and believe that we can do something, and have a desire and a belief that we can actually do something, that means we have that ability in us to do that. Now, in Happy Science, we're taught that we're more than just a physical body, that we have a spiritual body, and the core of our soul is our mind, and that we're all children of God or children of Buddha, and that we have the same essential nature as God or Buddha. And the nature of God or Buddha is a creator, and God creates things through the power of will and the power of thought. So the first stage is to believe that you can do something, and believe that this is what you want to do. So this was the starting point that Master Okawa spoke about. He then went on to say, he said, if you can believe continually, day by day, every day, if you can believe some good thing, and you want to be such kind of person, it means you have ability in you. Yeah, so if we can hold on to an idea or a thought, an ideal, an aspiration, have a dream, and we hold on to it every day, and we have a strong feeling that we want to achieve this, and we will achieve this, and make the effort every day, as long as we hold on to that thought will slowly, step by step, manifest in our lives. This teaching is nothing new. There are many teachings about how our lives are created through our thoughts, and how the power of attraction, for instance. The laws of attraction was a big teaching there for a long time, quite a big movement for a while, about the laws of attraction. And the laws of attraction really are about whatever you're thinking about, whatever sort of person you are being, whatever you think about all day long, this is what you're going to attract into your life. And it's really just the same concept, but put slightly differently. Master Okawa said, it indicates you have the ability to become such kind of person. So we can tell a lot about ourselves by thinking about what sort of thoughts or dreams or ideals that we hold in our mind. If we hold on to just a small idea and think that that's all we can achieve, then that's probably going to be the limit to our achievement. But if we can hold on to a big idea, have a grand idea, and hold on to that thought, that ideal in our mind for a long period of time, then step by step, through the law of cause and effect, it will come to manifest in our lives in one way or another. Master then said, if you intensely feel you want to do something, that is your will, and your will is your destiny. Your strong will is your destiny. I thought this was such a wonderful, deep meaning. Your strong will is your destiny. So if we look back in the past, there have been some people with strong will that have, obviously it's been part of their destiny to make certain things happen, but their destiny has been connected with changing the destiny of the world. I mean, these are great figures. People I'm referring to are people like Nelson Mandela. Obviously, he had a strong will to get rid of apartheid in South Africa. And he held on to that strong will, that strong idea, that strong ideal, and never gave up. And even when he had to spend 20 years in jail, he never gave up and held that strong thought and had that strong will. And eventually, his strong will was able to change the world. Martin Luther King is another one. He obviously had a very strong will and was determined to change America and change people's opinions regarding racism in America. Gandhi was another one. He had a strong idea and a strong will and held on to his ideal for a long period of time. So when we look back, we can see people whose strong wills and their grand ideas held over a long period of time have altered this world, or each one of us in our lives. This is what's happening day by day. If we really want to manifest the things we want in our life, we need to work to strengthen our will. And the will is like a muscle. Just as a muscle can be trained in the body, the will can be strengthened and trained. And this is part of the study and the training that we do here at Happy Science. And one of the keys to it is to have a high ideal, because it's hard to keep your mind feeling strongly about something that isn't a high ideal. If it's something that's not really very important and not very grand, it's hard to actually keep your will over a long period of time. That thought will be like a cloud. It will be there and eventually it will disappear because it really didn't have much substance. But if you can have a thought, an idea and an ideal that is something really wonderful that you really, really, really would like to do, and day by day hold that idea, hold the vision, create a strong will and be determined to make it happen, and then step by step make the actions that are necessary, then you can create that ideal in your life through the power of your thought, your visualization, and your will. So Master said, your strong will is your destiny. Now this title of this lecture was, you can be the person you want to become. You can be the person you want to become. So really, Master was saying, first of all, think about what person you want to become. What sort of person do you want to be? And once you know that, if you really become strong in your mind about that and determined in your mind about that and hold that thought and strengthen your will, then you can be that person. You can be that person just by deciding this is the person I want to become and making the effort to hold the thought and move in that direction. This is the nature of being a human being. We can change our lives. We can become anything. I mean, another great person I was thinking of is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, he left university because he didn't feel he had time to finish university because he felt he had a mission. He really wanted to create something, and he created Apple Computer in his garage at home. So he had a strong will, he had a strong determination. It was his destiny to create such a wonderful computer that allowed many millions of people and even billions of people throughout the world to be able to use computers like they had never used them before. But he was determined, and obviously there were a lot of obstacles along the way, but his strong will and his determination to create that enabled him to create such a wonderful destiny. Yeah, so then Master went on to say, no one can keep strong will without destiny. How strongly you feel means how big your destiny and abilities are. Yeah, so no one can keep strong will without destiny. And that's because our thoughts become our reality. Our thoughts always manifest over time. We come from the spirit world, as I mentioned. Well, in the spirit world, Master Okawa describes how thoughts are action. In the spirit world, thoughts are action. When you think something, something happens. So in this world of materialism, the material world, the physical world, things don't happen quite so quickly. For example, you could imagine in your mind the house that you'd like to live in. You could picture the house that you'd like to live in, and you could picture how many rooms, how many bathrooms, has it got a double garage, has it got a swimming pool, has it got a wooden fence, has it got a brick fence, has it got a garden? You could picture in your mind a house. But maybe if you spent 30 minutes, you could, in that time, create quite an elaborate idea and picture in your mind of the house that you'd like to build and that you'd like to live in. But even if it took you 30 minutes to vision that in your mind, it takes a lot longer in this world to build it. From the mind, we have to build the plans, draw up the plans, maybe get an architect, explain to the architect the house we want, get the architect to build up the plans. Then from there, they need to know what sort of materials it's going to be made of, ordering the materials, getting the builders to build, preparing the land, laying the foundations. So it will generally take months of time to be able to build the house. Yet we can have that thought and the picture in our mind almost instantly. And that's the difference. But as we hold these thoughts in our mind, if we hold them over a long period of time and we have a strong desire, a strong will to make it happen, that thought will become reality. It's just the nature of the truth. The truth is based on the law of cause and effect, and thoughts will manifest. All thoughts will manifest. God created this universe, these galaxies, these stars, these planets, these lives, through thought. First there came the idea, and then the will was put into that idea, and then over time, it manifested. So Master went on to say, if you can think about the same thing every day, it's your ability and it's your destiny and it's the will of heaven. So if you can think the same thing every day, it's your ability and it's your destiny and it's the will of heaven. Well, I thought about that, and actually it's really only the will of heaven if the thought is a heavenly thought. Of course, some people in this world can hold on to hellish thoughts, and hellish thoughts will also manifest. If a person has a thought, they hold a thought over a long period of time to hurt people, that also will manifest over time. And this really shows the importance of holding on to right thought. And here at Happy Science, we practice exploration of the right mind. So to practice exploration of the right mind, first of all, we have to practice reflection and look within our minds to see what thoughts we have. What are my ideals? I was talking to one of our members today, and he was saying how much he's changed his way of looking at business. He really has a strong desire to be successful in business, and it's wonderful because his desire to be successful in business is because he wants to be able to benefit many people and bring happiness to many people. But he realized that before Happy Science, his thoughts were all about how to make money. How can I make money? And so the thoughts were all about creating wealth without thinking too much other than that. But since Happy Science, he's realized that actually, if he thinks about what he can do to benefit the most number of people, if he can find ways to benefit millions of people, and then apply wisdom and economic principles, then naturally he'll be able to create wealth. So first of all, in his mind, he creates the vision of himself being able to bring happiness to millions of people. And then also the vision of himself with the wealth flowing into his life and him using that wealth to benefit even more people. Yeah. So this is how, using the power of thought and the power of will and having a strong ideal, we can even create great wealth in our life. Yes. So Master went on to say, well, actually this was his final statement. And I thought this was really, really beautiful. It just felt so inspiring, these words, when he said, "Firstly, believe in you, and in you there is everything. In you, you can see God. In you, you can see angels. In you, you can see the future, and the future of humankind." I thought this was very, very inspiring statement. These were very inspiring words. Firstly, believe in you, and in you there is everything. And that's because each one of us has this divine nature, which is like the seed of God. We have the same potential, we have the same essence as God. And since God can create everything, universes, everything, we ourselves then are limitless. But in this world today, too often people are limiting themselves because we are seeing ourselves from the material perspective. And from the material perspective, I am very limited. I can only think so much. My mind's only my brain, that is. If I want to do a calculation, or I want to try and work something out, I want to solve a problem. If I'm just using my physical brain, it's very limited. Our physical bodies are limited. If I want to try and run as fast as I can, there's no way I can run 100 kilometers an hour like a car can drive 100 kilometers an hour. It's just impossible for a physical body. So our physical bodies do have limitations in this world. But our real self, our true self, which is our spiritual body, and the core of that spiritual body, at the core of our spiritual body we have a mind. That mind is essentially us. In that mind, deep, 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 at the very core of our mind, we are one with God. So I find this such a wonderful, not just enlightening, but liberating thought and idea that there is no limit to my potential. Since I have at the very core of me the essence of God, and my life is about trying to find every day more deeply that true self that is connected with God. And in that true self, there is a being that is completely unlimited, completely free. That the restrictions of the body are something that we have while we're in this world. But even while living in this world, through the practice of meditation and through the practice of self-reflection and discovery of my true self, once I find this true self, which is in one with God, and this mind of self is full of love and full of compassion and full of mercy and full of creativity and full of a desire to do wonderful things, to bring happiness to other people in this world, and that there is no limit to what this true self can accomplish, that this true self is full of courage, that this true self is full of wisdom, that this true self is full of abundant energy, limitless energy, then I really want to spend my life trying to more and more discover that true self and live as that true self. So I hope yourselves, and myself also, I hope we can live as beings aiming to become limitless by discovering their true divine nature, finding what it was that we were born into this world to do, what it is that is my destiny, what it is that is my strong will, what it is that I have in my heart that I feel so strongly that I want to achieve, that I can live every day thinking about it, pondering it, nurturing it, and developing it so that it becomes a stronger and stronger will and thought and vision. And every day to be able to move closer and closer to creating that ideal so that I can be the person that I want to become, which is a person that can bring happiness to more and more people in this world. And they can be a person that become closer and closer to God or Buddha. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A talk from Master Okawa. And the next one will be on what is true success. Thank you very much.